Well, welcome to the podcast, She Who Believes. I am your host, Vivian Bell. And for those of you who do not know who I am, well, I want you to know that I am the mom of two amazing adults who are winning at the game of adulting. Not because I did everything perfect, but they have been my first two true blue ride or livings, and that is Sierra Cherie and Christopher Rashad. I am also a board certified biblical counselor, a master mental health coach, a life coach, and the greatest title that lets me do all that I do. I am the daughter of the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords, God Himself, and I am indeed she who believes. Now, we want to thank you all for staying with us as we did our transition and shift. We've kept our supporters. Actually, you guys have jumped over onto the new website and have just been following, whether it's blog posts or just checking out all of the new services on our website. Of course, we've got Florida coming in first, and there's Massachusetts, Ohio, Oregon, Virginia, Minnesota, Illinois, Germany, the UK, Japan, Brazil, Canada, Falkland Islands, Ireland, India, Iceland, and the Netherlands. Now, from the podcast platform itself, we've got Florida again coming as number one in the states, Washington, Virginia, California, Ohio, Oregon, Texas, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, New York, Georgia, Michigan, Arkansas, Illinois, Tennessee, New Jersey, and Missouri. Germany, UK, and India as well. Now, we've got some announcements. We have officially rebranded from Coaching by Vivian to Minding What Matters. And we are so very excited about this. And we're going to start some giveaways next week. So make sure you go over to the new website, which is mindingwhatmattersnow.com, and subscribe to our newsletter, our website. If you can't remember mindingwhatmattersnow.com, don't worry. You can still visit us at vivianbell.com because that website is going to point you there. Well, we are also launching new coaching services, one in particular being our next gen student coaching. It is for grades 6 through 12, and we are strategically transforming their minds so that they can excel in every single area of their lives. And I like to say transforming their mindset. But again, that starts with their minds, their thinking, and all of those things, which will result in accountability, structure, consistency, and all the other things that are needed to be successful in life. Well, the title of today's podcast is The End of Me. I like to think that should I ever wake up one day and decide that I would like to end it all, I like to think that if I told anyone around me, that they would most likely tell me something that they would love about me and encourage me to continue living. At least that's my hope, right? But all jokes aside, but seriously, I can trust that. And even if you cannot trust it for yourself right now, know that there is someone somewhere watching you daily and needing to see you make it, to draw strength from you during their journey. So if this alone in this podcast is speaking to you already and you need some support, reach out to the number 988 or email us at info@mindingwhatmattersnow.com, and we'll be glad to direct you to some support or provide some support for you. Now, I don't want you guys to worry. I'm not going anywhere before living the long and satisfied life that God has promised me in His Word and that He's giving to me. But I wondered if we all took a look around us today. What would we find? What would you find? You see, many of us, we run and we run and we do and we do until there is simply no more of us to give. And I just wondered if you have anyone in your closest circle that would check on you or that would check you and help you to come back to yourself before the end of yourself. Or do you simply have a bunch of takers around you? Are you wearing a facade, pretending that you can do it all? Are you prioritizing others' needs over your own? I know that my questions might startle you a little bit and might even throw you off, but during this month, we are focusing on boundaries and why they are so very important. Now, I do want you to note that I am in no way telling you to 86 all your friendships and relationships unless these things are toxic. But my goal today, this week, this month, is to help you find you again. Christianity nor life is about our big checklist, being a checklist person. It's not about our checklist of qualifications that make us okay or that cause us to fit in. the truth is that our checklist will never end, because because there will always be someone else's traditions and desires that will be thrown into the mix, and that if you aren't careful, you will end up on a never-ending hamster wheel of pleasing others. Now, again, I'm not saying that you should never consider the feelings of others, nor am I encouraging you to become self-centered. I am hoping today to help you to become self-aware. So we believe in God, right? That's the focus of this podcast. And if you don't, I just want you to know it's okay. Hang on, stay with us, continue to listen to this podcast. It's a safe place for you as well. This podcast is literally for those who believe, who are struggling to believe, who's been fighting to hold on to your faith. Again, it is for everyone. But I must ask you, how much do you believe God for you? You know, for who you are. God has told you how he loves you, and that he desires to love all of us and have a relationship with us and bless us. Yet, we can often seem to believe this for everyone else but ourselves. Well, I want to help you this month figure out that for yourself. I want you to figure out who you are, to embrace her, and to live out her purpose without fear of anyone's opinion. When we are walking in the steps that God has ordered for us and fulfilling his purpose, then those who are called to us, to our purpose, they will embrace us, love us, and lift us up. Now, this all starts with our mindset and our personal beliefs about ourselves. Now, it is important that we all believe that we are God's children, that he loves us, that we have everything that we need to fulfill his purpose for us already on the inside of us. It was placed there when he knit us together in our mother's womb. Before that, we must know that proving who we are is not something that we need to do for the Creator, because he knows us better than anyone else, because God himself created us, right? So right now, I want you to embrace the following truths. I want you to embrace that you are loved, that you are chosen, that you are needed, and that you are respected. And keep in mind that if you are not respected within your inner circle, then you are in the wrong room. I want you to know that God will never require you to shrink in order to fit into any space. I want you to pause here, and because I need to address arrogance. Self-esteem and arrogance are not the same thing. Most people who are extremely arrogant are really, really extremely insecure. Thus, their need to prove that they are better than you. That they do not need you. These individuals are usually very brash and have an air of superiority about them. Now, a confident person commands a room also, but not by force, like the arrogant one. They command it by just being present and showing up authentically as themselves. Because when they are fully present, everything shifts, as it should when any of us walks into a room. Everyone in any room, no matter how big the room, or the names in the room, or the titles in the room, or any of that of the other attendees, everyone has something to bring, something to give, and to glean from the experience. Do not miss out on what God has for you by shrinking and settling in your head in that small place full of self-deprecating thoughts. Now, I know that space feels really big, but I promise you it is really exceedingly small. And we are believing what we believe makes waves in our neural pathways, right? And so it is our hope today to change the way that you see yourselves, to end the doubting, to end all the negative thoughts, and to change the pathway, those neural pathways that the thoughts in your mind travel. I pray that you will no longer doubt God's truth about who you are, and that this day, that the new you, the she who believes that she is all that God says that she is, will emerge, and that you will join me back here next week as we give practical tools and begin to discuss boundaries, how to set them up. Again, we're going to cover some practical tools that will help you, and that will also not only help you set up boundaries, but that will help you to begin a life of freedom that comes from having the proper boundaries in your life. Now, if you're looking to get more information about those practical tools, or if you are looking to perhaps get some more guidance and you recognize that, hey, I really do need some boundaries in my life, then reach out to us at info@mindingwhatmattersnow.com and we'll get those to you. Now, I also, before we go this week, I want to just talk to you about coming to the end of you. What do I mean by that? Now, I don't just mean ending our lives, right? Ending our lives here on earth. But there needs to be a place where we don't run out. We don't just stay so busy, so focused and so driven, as some like to call it, hustling or grinding, that we lose ourselves. And I'm saying ourselves because God has really just blessed me to have put people in my life strategically, specifically my bestie Renee, who will shoot me an email, shoot me a text message, who will remind me, hey, work hours has ended. Are you still in your office? Are you still working on this? Are you still writing? Not because she doesn't support me. She is one of my biggest cheerleaders. She supports my writing. She supports it by purchasing my work, but she supports it in reading it. She supports it in giving feedback. She just supports, and her love language is loving others and taking care of them. And so she does that for me, and God allows me to be what she needs as far as just giving her support, encouraging her, seeing her, sometimes holding her foot to the fire. But that's what good relationships and good things should do. Your friends and the people around you should never allow you to come to the end of yourself. One, because if you give out in a particular season, when God needs you to keep going, when people are called to what you're doing, whether it's ministry, whether it's books you're writing, teaching courses and classes, or starting a business, whatever it is, then you won't be in place to fulfill his purpose in season, in time, the way that he's called you to do that. And our lives is about bringing glory to God, right? So when we believe, first of all, that God has called us, that God loves us, that he is for us, that he truly has a purpose for us, we become more cognizant of our need to be fully rested, to be fully present in every moment, so that we are truly experiencing his favor, his presence, and hearing clearly his direction, and being able to see clearly in the spirit the steps that he has ordered for us. So over this next week, examine your life. I want you to take a look at your relationships. Again, I'm not saying, hey, you find some negative things about everyone and you 86 all of your friends. Again, unless everyone around you is toxic, right? But God's going to speak to you. I want you to spend some time in prayer to God with him, asking him to just solidify his purpose for your life in this season, who he wants or who he has ordained to walk with you throughout this season, and then ask God to show you how to navigate and have relational intelligence, as Dr. Darius Daniels calls it. Well, as I stated, this month we'll be talking about boundaries. We'll have some more practical tools. So come back next week ready with pen and paper in hand, or maybe some place to take notes, or download the message on YouTube, Spotify, iHeartRadio, however you're listening, Apple Podcasts, so that you can listen to this podcast over and over again and utilize these practical steps to help you find freedom and success in your life through the necessary boundaries that you need in order to continue to walk out your purpose. Well, you've been listening, or in some cases watching, the podcast She Who Believes, and I am your host, Vivian Bell, and I am indeed she who believes. I'm also she who is still working out the viewing of where my cameras are. If you guys have been rolling with me this last 5 years and you've caught some of the recordings, you know that I'm still working these things out. And as you can see, I'm using some new software also this week. So bear with your girl, but keep on listening, and we'll keep on praying for you, and we'll keep showing up to encourage you to believe and to trust God. Have a great week, and we'll see you back here next week. God bless you.